Hi and welcome to this new video, and in this video we're in lesson 2 of our flight training. If you haven't watched lesson 1, then please go back to our YouTube channel, find lesson 1 and watch that first, because in that video we set up the drone for flight training. So if you just come in here after installing Velocidrone and you haven't done that, the drone is going to be way too fast and too sensitive for a beginner. So if you haven't watched lesson 1, go back and watch that first. We're now on lesson 2, and on lesson 2 we're going to look at flying a little bit faster and the sorts of things we need to adjust in order to be able to fly faster. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the quick start button this time, because we're going to go back into exactly the same scene as we were in lesson 1, and we can do that by pressing quick start. And you can see on the quick start button it says empty scene day pylons, which is where we were before. Okay, so I'm going to press M to turn on my sticks, and I'm just going to power up my transmitter here.
Welcome to Tango 2. Switch warning.
And let's plug that in. Just see if we've got control, which we have, and I'll reset us to the start grid. So what we're doing in lesson 2 is we're carrying on from where we left off in lesson 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and fly a bit faster. So I'm just going to pop the quad up here into the hover. We're just in ground effect here, so I'm just going to pop it up just a little bit higher to get us out of ground effect. Aim myself at that first pylon there, and then we're going to tip the nose forward, and I'm going to hold the stick forward a bit more than we were before. And you can hear I'm backing off on the throttle a little, but I will be adjusting my throttle all the time here to maintain my height, and then I'm going to be putting in slightly bigger controls. Still coordinated, still pushing roll and yaw together, but adjusting the throttle to maintain my height and just flying a little bit faster, pushing those forward. And we're just going to increase our speed here and just get a little bit faster. And increase our speed a little bit more. A little bit faster. As you can see, I'm actually getting quite a lot of roll now in order to get this quad around these corners. I've got it full roll pretty much. I'm using the yaw just to swing it around. You can see I'm having to use much more yaw now in order to get it around these corners. Full roll in order to roll the quad, and a bit more yaw. And I'm obviously having to back off on the throttle to stop it climbing. Now, if we want to fly faster than this, which of course we can push the nose forward even more. And you can see that angle mode is actually stopping me from going much further than I am currently. So this is as far forward as I can angle the quad right now. So if I want to fly faster without climbing, then I need to actually have a little bit more angle available to me, so I can tip the quad forward a little bit more. So let's just land, and we're going to do that. So we're going to go into the menu here. We're going to go to Advanced Drone Setup, and you can see here this is my limit. So this is 55 degrees. This is the limit that it will allow the drone to tip up. So 55 degrees is as far as it will let it tip, and then it won't let it tip any further. So we're going to just increase that now, and I'm going to give myself up to 70 degrees of tip, which is quite a lot. So I should be able to fly a fair bit faster now. And we click save and go back and back again. And now when I take off and I tip the quad forwards, we should see that I've actually got, as I tip forward more and more and more, I can actually get the quad really tipped up now. And that allows me to fly faster. But I've now got a different problem, which is that I'm seeing the ground a lot. It's quite difficult for me to see where I'm going because I'm now tipped right forward. but I can't see where the pylons are that I'm aiming for because all I can see is the ground in my view. So we want to fix that problem. Now the way we fix that problem is we increase our camera angle. So if we just go to the page up, page down key now, we can increase our angle here, and we're going to go up to 30 degrees. So now when I fly and I tip the quad forward quite significantly, you can see I can still see where I'm going. So I'm flying a lot faster now, but I can still see where I'm going. And obviously I've also got more bank available to me as well, because that 70 degrees that I set also allows me 70 degrees of bank. So it allows me to pitch forward 70 degrees, but also allows me to bank 70 degrees, which is making it easier for me to turn the corners. Now this change in camera angle is important to allow me to be able to see where I'm going, and as you get better as a pilot, you want to fly faster, you want to tip the quad up more in order to get that speed, and in doing so you need a higher camera angle. Now one of the problems with camera angle is that as you go higher, when you get to 45 degrees, there's a crossover point where the roll stick starts to behave like a yaw stick, and the yaw stick starts to behave like a roll stick. So above 45 degrees, your yaw stick becomes roll and your roll stick becomes yaw. Not that you particularly notice, because you're still coordinating by pushing the sticks together. But that is an important thing to realize, is that once you go beyond 45 degrees angle, then when you yaw it looks like roll, and when you roll it looks like yaw. So if I just pop this quad up into a hover here, and I'm going to hit the W key just to hold it in the sky. I'm just going to turn off angle mode and go back to rate mode, because what I want to do is I want to tip the quad forward here like this, so that I'm looking at the horizon across the center of my screen. And when I just yaw the quad now with a bit more angle, you'll see that we get a tilt in the horizon, and that's because we're rolling around the camera. We're not rolling around, we're rolling around the quad, but the camera is pointing up at an angle, and so as the quad rolls, it looks from the camera's point of view, or as the quad yaws, it looks from the camera's point of view like we're rolling. And if I roll, you can see that that still looks very much like a roll. But yaw has got this odd tipping effect to it now, because we're not rolling around the axis of the camera, we're rolling around the axis of the quad, and the camera is pointing up at an angle from the quad. So you get this odd effect when you go into your turns if you're just using yaw, of this angle change. And the higher you tilt your camera, the more of that you get. And of course, if you bring your camera angle down, so if you come all the way down to 0 degrees, you can I need to bring my horizon back to center. There we go. So with my horizon back to the center of the screen, you can see that when we yaw, we actually are just spinning like we would expect. And then as we take the camera angle up, so if I go up to 10 degrees, and then I just bring that horizon back to the center of the screen, across the middle of the screen, you can see that now we're getting a little tiny bit of angle as we yaw. And if I go up a lot, so if I go all the way up to 45 degrees, you can see that quite a lot of angle change occurs, and so on. So the more camera angle you have, the more exacerbated this effect of yaw looking like you're weirdly rolling, that more of that effect occurs. So that's just something to bear in mind. I just want to show you that effect and explain why it happens. So if we bring our camera angle now back to 30 degrees, Or so, no, let's just go a little bit more. Let's go 35 degrees. And I'll just press W to unlock my quad so it comes back down to the ground. And we're going to put angle mode back on. And we should be able to see now that at 35 degrees I can actually fly really quite fast in angle mode. A lot more throttle. And I'm not looking down at the ground anymore. I'm looking where I'm going so I can target the next gate. And you always want to be looking at the gate after the gate you're going to be flying through. So you're spotting ahead or planning ahead. You never really want to be just looking at the current gate. You want to be thinking about where the next one is and aiming at that next gate. So here I'm looking ahead to this gate here. I've already spotted to the left the next gate. So I'm always planning ahead as to where I want to be. Coordinating my roll and yaw sticks for the turns. And always holding forwards in order to maintain my speed and just adjusting throttle to control the height. Okay, now when you get to this stage where you're flying around at this sort of speed, you don't need to be going faster than this. If you're just flying, relatively comfortable at this sort of speed in angle mode, then actually it's time to stop flying angle mode and to switch to rate mode. Because one of the problems with angle mode is that it's not the fastest way to fly a quad around a track. It's certainly the easiest way to fly a quad around the track because of that self-leveling that you've got available to you, but it's definitely not the fastest, and also it's bad habit forming. So it teaches you things that you're doing on the sticks to control the drone which you shouldn't be doing when you're flying in rate mode. So as soon as you get to the point that you're at where your flying looks like what I'm doing right now, it's time to stop flying angle mode and to start flying rate mode. And that is the content of the next lesson. Let's just land this quad very badly. There we go, stick it back on the start grid. So next lesson is looking at rate mode, and we'll start talking about how you get into flying rate mode and how that changes what you're doing on the sticks. And it's quite a jump, so you need to be prepared that when you go from angle mode to rate mode, things do get quite a bit more difficult. But stick with it because it will come, it just takes a bit of time.